discussing about this databases and all. So I hope you got very basic introduction to database now. So and we always run this database in our custom VPC private subnet. So I already have right. Yeah. So now I'm in Mumbai region and I already have a VPC here. I already have a VPC here. Right. So within this VPC, I have two public subnets and two private subnets. So first of all, where you want to run your databases. So we don't have an option to choose a specific subnet. So what you need to do in database, we have a component called or option called DB subnet group. So if you want to work on database, the first step is you need to create a DB subnet group. Okay. So in what are all the subnets your database need to run? Pick that subnets, create a DB subnet group. While launching, you select it. For example, all my databases need to run only in these two private subnets. Private subnet 1, private subnet 2. And one is running in 1A, another one is running in 1B. So there is no issue for high availability purpose and all. So first you take these two, create a DB subnet group. That we always do. The first step, create a DB subnet group. If you are going with the default DB subnet group, it might choose some subnets randomly. Your database may also run in public subnet also. Is that recommended setting? Absolutely no. So you go to RDS. In left pane, we have subnet groups. Go here and create a DB subnet group. Let me delete this. Right. So the default is already there. Click on create DB subnet group. So what name you want to give? Custom VPC subnets or hyphen private I'm giving. What description you want to give? My custom VPC private subnets. What is a VPC? Here is my custom VPC. I'm selecting my custom VPC. Now, what are the availability zones? I want to run all my databases across multiple availability zones. So AP South 1A and 1B. So then what subnet? In 1A, you have two subnets. In 1B, you have two subnets. Where your database actually need to run. Okay. So in two private subnets. So select that. One is 20, second one is F6. I'm selecting this F6 and 20. One private subnet from AP South 1A, another private subnet from AP South 1B. So select these two, scroll down, create. Now, whenever we are launching the database, it will ask us, what is your DB subnet? So if you select this DB subnet, what happens, your database either run in this subnet or in this subnet. This is always important that no one tells you. Okay, in real environment, we use this. Okay, it's always important. And it's an interview question also. And we cannot go and modify subnet to another. So we recently, faced an issue. Right. So we have a subnet. Within that subnet, all IP addresses are exhausted, all used. We are trying to modify that existing database. That is not allowing. Whenever we are modifying it, right, it is going to create a temporary copy that reserves an IP address and all. So that's not happening. So then what we need to do? So we have a concept called multi-AZ. We enable that multi-AZ. That is tomorrow's session topic. Don't worry about that. We'll discuss. We enable multi-AZ. So then what happened? Same copy of database creates in another subnet. If you're depending on only subnet, is that possible? So that's the reason we never ever depend only on one subnet in real environments. We always depends on two subnets. Okay. So you will come to know about that multi-AZ tomorrow. All right. So first create this, keep it ready. So now you can go and start creating databases. First of all, in AWS, we have lot of database services. Relational database is RDS. RDS stands for Relational Database Service. RDS stands for Relational Database Service. Here, we are going to create a relational database. We have non-relational databases also. The primary difference between relation and non-relation, how data is going to store. See, I told you, we can use this Excel sheet to project our information, right? For example, you can take a table. Annotations, not enable, right? So you can take a simple Excel sheet. Okay, so here, serial number, first name, last name. Serial number 1, first name is something Avinash, and last name is something, right? And so we can simply call this as the data structure is rows and columns. We can call it as a relational database. So it's the same information, I can store it in different manner also. In JSON format also I can store. So how we can store? The same thing. First, open brace, close brace. I'm calling it as okay, serial number 1. So then first name, I'm calling it as Avinash. Last name, I'm calling it as R. So then another information. So then again, same thing I'm going to take. Okay, serial number is going to be 2 and some different name and some different. Here, you see, here also we are storing information. But is it storing in rows and columns? It's storing in simple JSON format. So technically, this is non-relational database. This RDS service supports relational database only. And relational databases will have a schema. Schema will have rows and columns, stored procedures and all. Okay. So, but this non-relational database is nothing, no schema, nothing. Directly you start inserting your data, you run a query and you get the data. That is a non-relational. So in AWS, we have a non-relational database called DynamoDB. Okay. In similar way, we have Graph database, we have MongoDB compatible databases, but primarily AWS customers use this relational database, RDS, widely. Okay. So this relational databases, again, in this relational databases, we have 6 DB engines. AWS supports 6 relational database engines. So those are Amazon Aurora, that is Amazon's own database. But again, did they develop it from scratch? No. They have taken source code of MySQL. They added more features and all. They released with a version. And another one is Aurora. Another one is PostgreSQL. So Aurora have 2 flavors, 2 versions. One is MySQL compatible edition and PostgreSQL edition. The second one is, okay, MariaDB. Third one is PostgreSQL. The fourth one is MySQL. Fifth one is MS SQL. The sixth one is Oracle. AWS supports these 6 relational database engines. If you want to use RDS service, you need to choose one of these. But okay, I want to use MariaDB, I want to use MongoDB. Can I use that with RDS? No. RDS is database as a service. Just like a platform as a service, it's also part of platform. It categories platform as a service. But what platform we are getting? An entire database. So you no need to take care about OS level. You no need to take care about database installations and all. No need to worry about high configurations and all. You just need to worry about how we can use this database with our application. That is fine. Same thing, can't we do with the help of EC2? Of course we can. But if you are taking an EC2 method, you first need to launch an EC2 instance. You need to take care about OS patches per hour cost. On top of that, you need to download the software. It is an EC2 instance. Who is going to install it? We need to install. Who need to take care about high availability and all? Who need to take care about fault tolerance and all? We need to take care. So if we are taking EC2 method, it involves with lot of additional work for end customers or for us. Technically, it involves with lot of work. Okay, but whenever you are taking RDS, you select what type of database required, you select the storage and you launch it. AWS will provide it. But disadvantage is we cannot log into OS level. What exactly happening at OS level, you cannot view. So then how we can get connected to it? Generally, if you install in a server, you can connect to the server, you can see what exactly happening there. But here, I'm depending on RDS and I'm saying I cannot get connected to it. So, but how we can create a data, how we can view the data, how to troubleshoot, how to set up custom settings and all. So we have supported GUI tools. We have supported UI tools for each and every option. For example, you know, what is a tool for MySQL? You might aware about this, MySQL or MS SQL. What is a tool? MySQL Workbench. If it is a MS SQL, Microsoft SQL, what is a tool? SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So SSMS. If it is an Oracle, the widely used one is STARD, or you can use Oracle Enterprise Client. Oracle Enterprise Client tool. If it is a PostgreSQL, we have a tool called pgadmin. If it is a MariaDB, we have a tool called Just Workbench. Okay. So then if it is a Amazon Aurora, as I told you, MySQL compatible one and PostgreSQL. If you select MySQL compatible one, you can use MySQL Workbench. And if it is a PostgreSQL, you can use pgadmin. It's not so unique one, the existing one only, but AWS added a lot of advanced features and flavors, right? So these are available 6 relational databases we have in AWS. If you need any other, you need to depend on any other service or you need to depend on EC2. Then you need to, you always have an option called EC2. But there are a lot of management things and all. Instead of that, we go with this. Okay, now in RDS, whatever the database we are going to launch, I need to show how to get connected to it, right? So I'm going to depend on one of these tools based on the type we are selecting. So then I'll demonstrate it. Okay, right. So clear so far? So can we go and can we launch one database now? Again, today is the first session on database launch. I will focus only on launching it and connecting to it. I don't go in detail about most of the options. We will discuss that from tomorrow onwards. All right. So now, which database you want me to launch? Anyone? MS SQL. Okay, I'll go with MS SQL then.
MySQL.
MySQL. Okay, MySQL. Anything is fine. Right. Multiple options here. Okay, let's stick with MySQL. Okay. So you can take any other and you can launch. There is no big difference. Just like launching a Amazon Linux and launching a Red Hat or launching a Windows. Much difference? The launch process and all. No big difference. Nothing. Same. So first, I'm in Mumbai region. Remember, don't work on multiple regions. Stick to one specific region. It's easy to monitor. Okay. So now I'm in Mumbai region. Click on create database. Right. So here, two options. One is standard create. Second one is easy create. Standard create, we have a lot of options to select. Easy create, AWS picks all the options. You just select easy create, which type you required. So then what is the username and password? Click on create AWS, will create a database. All the default settings it will pick. Okay, we never follow that. Go to standard create. Now, okay, so you see here, what is the DB engine you want to launch? So here is a MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL, Amazon Aurora, right? So, I've seen many responses in chat and here also MySQL. So I'm going with MySQL today. Select MySQL. Within this MySQL also, what version you want to go with? Remember, we always go with the -2 or -1 mechanism. How many of you upgraded to Windows 11? From Windows 10 to Windows 11? You satisfied with Windows 11? All right. You're happy with Windows 10. If someone gives you advice not to upgrade, you may not upgrade, right? I also in the same category. I upgraded to Windows 11 and it stopped working. Okay. So the problem is now, if you got any issue related to that Windows 11, you don't have much user to provide supports. Even once that application is in production, if any issue comes, if same issue comes in UAT, we will fix it, then we will send it to production. But once it is released in production, if some issues comes, that's happened in Windows 11. New issues came. They they mentioned boot time is just 10 seconds. My another laptop, it's with i7 processor. The boot is taking almost 4 minutes. So they are saying 10 seconds and it's in real, it's 4 minutes. So, whenever you are going with latest version immediately after the release, you may land into unnecessary issues. For existing versions, some another customer may already face. Okay. Or they might get the issue in their R&D itself, the service provider. So they might working on the fixes and all. So here in real environment, we never ever go with the latest version. Still we are with 5.7 only. Yes, we are with 5.7 only. We got MySQL 8 also, but we are with 5.7. We did some R&D. Okay, but client not satisfied with the features or no big differences we are going to get with 8.0. So instead of getting into unnecessary issues and all, we stick to same version. Okay. So in real environments also, we follow same -1 or -2 mechanism. Right. So you see here, every version have its known issues and limitations. So you review that known issues and limitations, you go with it. So that is the first thing. Now, second thing, what is for what is your workload? You're going to use it for free tier, just for testing purpose and all, for training purpose and all, or are you going to use this for dev or test environment or production environment? Okay, so which option you are going to choose? Don't select any other. Go with only free tier. Okay, and when you select free tier, some of the options are disabled here. You see, if I select dev or test or production, it's asking me, you want to go with multi-AZ DB cluster, multi-AB DB instance, or single DB, tomorrow session topic. So go with the free tier. Some options are disabled. That is absolutely fine. Then what is a DB instance identifier? It's just like a name. So you can easily identify with these names. So I'm going to call this as a MySQL first DB. Now you need to set up master username and password. If you don't want to go with the admin, you can change it. For example, the standard one is a DB admin. I want to create a user with the username DB admin, and I'm going to set a password. The password I'm going to give Avinash1234. Okay. So if you forgot the password, you can easily reset it. Just go and modify, set a new password, apply. It will ask us, you want to apply immediately or you want to do later in maintenance window. If you select apply now, it will immediately set a new password. So it's not a big thing to reset this user password. Okay. So I'm giving username as a DB admin. I have given a password. Now, what is a DB class you are looking for? I selected, see, we have these many types, but is it showing any? No, it's showing only T3 micro and T4G micro. Why? Because these comes under free tier eligibility. If you selecting this dev or test environment, here it will allow us to choose a lot of different configurations, memory optimized, storage optimized. We have a lot of options to choose here. All right. So we are good with free tier. I'm selecting free tier. And I'm going with T4G micro. That is the latest generation. So this G is a Grapheon processor, a bit faster compared to that existing ones, Xeon processors. Okay. So I'm selecting db.t4g micro. And what is the storage you are looking for? You are launching a database, fine. But how much data you are going to store in the database? Again, whatever the storage you are selecting here, that storage is not to run any operating systems. You are not going to run any operating system. The entire storage dedicated for your database only. That much data you can store inside the database. So minimum is 20 GB. I'll go with the 20 GB only. Don't create blindly. It is picking 200 GB. 20 GB comes under free tier eligibility. So go with the 20 GB. Now there is an option, enable storage auto scaling. If you enable this option, what happened? Whenever 80% of this storage is full, AWS will automatically add additional storage. You manually no need to do anything. In EC2, yes, you manually need to go, modify, add storage, connect to the instance, make it available. You need to do a lot of additional steps in EC2 EBS volumes. But here in database, once this 20 GB is full, AWS automatically adds some. Till when? Till 500 GB, I'm okay to add. But how much it is going to add? 10, 20, 50, 100, how much it is going to add whenever that is full? For that, there is a logic. So that is 10% of an existing storage or 5 GB. Whichever is higher, it will add. What is the 10% of 20 GB? 2? Sure. I'm weak in maths. 2? Okay. So 2 GB is first logic or 5 GB. Whichever is higher among these two, 2 or 5, whichever is higher? 5? 5. Yeah. 5. Right. So automatically 5 GB is going to add. Now this will become 25. Okay. For example, you have taken 100 GB. Now it will calculate, for example, 80% storage or 90% storage is full. Now AWS want to add some storage to this existing 100 GB. Why? Because you have enabled storage auto scaling. So now the logic is 5 GB, 10% of an existing storage or 5 GB. What is 10% of 100? 10. And another side is 5. Whichever is higher, 10 or 5? 10. Yeah. So it's going to become 110 GB. Right. So that is a logic if you enable this storage auto scaling. If you don't want to, you manually want to monitor whenever you want to go and increase the storage. Of course, you no need to enable this. If this storage is full, we will get an alert if we configure any. So you manually go and modify. You change the value. Okay, I want to make it as a 150. You change it to 150 and you launch. Okay. So that is a storage auto scaling option. For production environment, we will do that. Okay. So now connectivity. So how you want to get connected to this EC2 instance? This database. So if you want to connect to this database from an EC2 instance, so we can choose this option, connect to an EC2 compute resource. If you have any instance, we can go and select that EC2 instance. What happened in backend? The pipeline mechanism will be implemented. You remember the Rajnikant and his PA example. Same mechanism we can implement between our database and our EC2 instance or jump server. Okay. So if you select this and if you select the required EC2 instance, pipeline mechanism, AWS only create on behalf of you. But I don't have any instance. So I'm going with don't connect to an EC2 instance now. We can go and manually do that. Okay. It's just saving some time. That's it. Nothing more. So now what is the network type? So dual stack like IPv4 and IPv6 or both or go with IPv4. We are good with IPv4. Now in what VPC you want to run? In our custom VPC. Now you see here DB subnet group. You remember as a first step we created one DB subnet group. Okay. So you go and select the DB subnet group. If you miss the DB subnet group creation, here in left pane, we have subnet groups, guys. Go to that subnet groups. First of all, in what subnet you want to run this database? I want to run this in my custom VPC private subnet. So select those. Then go to RDS subnet groups. Click on create DB subnet group. Give a name, new subnet group. Okay. So then in what VPC? Selecting the VPC. What availability zone? I want to run it only in AP South 1A. I can go and select that AP South 1A. When I click on create and it's saying an error, I told you, I always mention this point. You always need to spread your resource across multiple availability zones. That's what the error. DB subnet group doesn't meet availability zone coverage requirement. Current AZ only in AP South 1A. Only in AP South 1A. So go and select multiple subnets and select multiple subnets here. Then when you click on create, it will create. That's what I did. If you miss. Okay, this is what the subnet. Here is a 2 subnets. Here is a 2 subnets I have added. All right. So can I edit? Yes, you can go and edit this. And for example, you want to change or you want to add a new one. You go here. If you have any subnet in 1C, you select that. Okay. Or if you want to modify something from AP South 1A, it is here. You can remove. You can select another one. Then you can click on save. You can modify it. All right. So now I'm selecting the subnet we already created. Public access, yes or no? Is it recommended to give public access to database? No.
No.
So if you give yes, what happens? AWS will give a public IP address for this. It will create a route via internet gateway to access it outside of AWS environment. But we never ever select that as a yes. Go with the no. Okay. And what is we are launching MySQL, right? What is MySQL port number? I ask you to remember this. Double three.
1433.
That is MySQL, MSSQL. MySQL port number is 3306.
Yes, sir.
MSSQL port number is 1433.
1433.
Yeah. So we are launching MySQL. So whatever the security group we are selecting now, it is going to open with that 3306. But to where it is going to point? So it will automatically pick my local network IP address, this Naresh IT IP address. But I'm giving public IP as public access as a no, and it is picking my local network IP address. Once it is created, you obviously need to go and modify it. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot get connected to it. Right. So I'm creating a new one. I'm giving a name MySQL SG. And where it is going to run? Right, this database. Either it is in 1A or 1B, we can select it. So just ignore this proxy for now. And you see here it is running on 3306, the port number. And how you want to authenticate? I'm going with a password authentication for now. Okay, scroll down. I'm not going to enable performance insights. And additional configuration. What is the initial database name? I'm calling it as a first DB. And backup, I'm not going to enable. Not enabling encryption. These all we will discuss tomorrow, guys. Not enabling auto minor motion upgrade also. Then scroll down, create database. Okay. So the backup, if you enable backup, it will take a lot of time to create. It will take a lot of time to create. So scroll down, create database. Now, a database is creating. Here is the credentials. Master username is dbadmin. Master password is Avinash1234. Okay. So for these databases, we are not going to get any IP address, just like load balancers. It will have an IP address, but you're going to get an endpoint. With the help of endpoint, we can get connected to this DB instance. And from where I can get connected to this? I have this MySQL Workbench tool in my local laptop. Can I get connected to it? For example, I have MySQL Workbench here. Can I get connected to it? Why? How to get connected to this database now?
Any EC2 instance.
Any EC2 instance or Jump server or Bastion host. You launch any EC2 instance. You connect to the EC2 instance. From that EC2 instance, you can get connected to this database. If you are looking for graphical interface, you depend on the tool I mentioned. If it is a command line, you install the required software and you get connected to it by using command line also. Okay? Right. So I'm going to launch an EC2 instance. Okay. And I'll install the required software and I'll get connected to it. So let's navigate to EC2. Instances, launch instance. I'm in Mumbai region. Okay, if you launch your EC2 instance in any other region, can it communicate? No. Why? Because your database in different VPC, your EC2 is in different region, different VPC. It cannot communicate. Can we enable communication between these? How? VPC pairing. So we can use pairing to enable communication. Right. So here I'm calling this as a Gem for Bastion host. And I'm taking Windows Server 2016 base. I'm going with T2 micro. See, I'll go with bit higher configuration. You guys go with T2 micro. Why? Because bit faster. I'm going with T2 medium. It will cost me, I'm okay. Even my account is not under free tier limitation anymore. For T2 micros also, I need to pay. And it is running in a public subnet. Security group, I'm going to select Windows SG. 30 gigs is okay. Launch instance. You go with the T2 micros only. Do not select any other categories. The database creation is now completed. Generally, if we enable automated backup, it will take around 20 to 25 minutes. That's the reason I have not enabled. Okay. This EC2 instance is in running state now. Let's grab that instance public IP address. You know the process, right? Make sure your RDP is open. Okay, RDP is open. And I'm going to take this remote desktop, add PC, given public IP address, and I'm calling it as a Bastion host. Right, give a double click, asking me to enter username and password. Administrator is a username. Click on connect, RDP client, get password. It's not available yet. We need to wait. As it is a Windows, yeah, we need to wait for 2 to 3 minutes. So we got connected to this Bastion host now. So I want to download the supported application I want to install. Go to start, server manager. In left pane, local server. And here IEHC. I'm disabling. Why? Because I want to download something over the internet. I need to give a lot of security exemptions, and that window I always need to close. Okay. So then open Internet Explorer. This is running in public subnet. So it already have internet. And I'm calling it as a, okay, I'm navigating to google.com. And I'm going to look for MySQL Workbench download. Go to official website only. Okay. So here is a tool, 46 MB1. Click on download. It will ask you to log in and sign up. No thanks, just start my download. Okay, click on this link. Right, the software is now started downloading to our local laptop. It's already downloaded here. Now install this. Typical Windows installation. Click on run. Next, 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 install. So now the software installation completed. So open that application. You go to start, you look for MySQL Workbench, and that application will open. Right. So here click on plus symbol. What is the connection name? So my first MySQL is a name I have given. And here it is asking for host name. Host name is nothing but our RDS endpoint name. So when you go to RDS screen, if you click on view connection details, you see this. This is an endpoint. This is a master username, master password. So copy that endpoint and get that here. Port number 3306. What is a username? DB admin. DB admin. If you have any doubt, you go here. It's still open. DB admin. Password Avinash1234. Click on store in Vault. Then give the password. Click on OK. Now there is a button here. Test connection. When you click on test connection, it should show connection success, or at least it should give a pop-up to enter the password. If you are getting the pop-up, okay, or if it is showing connection success, so then there is a communication between this EC2 instance and my database. Okay, so but should we modified anything and the communication is there? No, no communication here. It's still trying to, even if you click on, if you give a double click, it's trying to open. It's trying to open and it's going to fail. Without testing, you click on OK, it will create. Okay, once it is created, you give a double click. You see, cannot connect to database server. So what you are going to verify? The connection problem. What is the first step you need to verify? Security group. Security group of your EC2 instance or database. Security group of your EC2 instance or database.
EC2.
Instance, okay, let's verify. If I go here, if I go to security, okay, fine, 80 is open, 3389 is open. So 3389 is open, I am able to get connected to this EC2 instance. So what you want me to do? You want me to open 3306 here? So then to where I need to open the 3306?
Database.
Okay, let's give it a try. Edit, add role. I'm giving MySQL. So here what you want me to give? Database endpoint. Given database endpoint, not accepting. Or let's open it for everyone. Okay, now let's go here. Let's try to connect. Still no. See, is our EC2 instance delivering any database? Our RDS is delivering the database, right? So basically this EC2 instance is a universal acceptor. It accepts all the traffic coming into it. You don't need to open any port number to get traffic from some other servers. We have opened 3389. Why? Because RDP I want to take from different server. The service need to allow. I made this instance as a web server. So then I'm opening port number 80. But did I install any database here? Why I need to open 3306? So you no need to worry about instance. You need to worry about database. So let's go to database. While creating this database, we selected one security group, right? MySQL SG. Just go and observe that. This is opened with 3306 already, but to where it is opened? It is opened with Naresh IT's public IP address. So from my local laptop, okay, I can try to communicate, but however it is public, that is different. Okay, but this setting is not valid. So that's the reason you're not able to get connected to it. Now what I need to do? You gave anywhere? Okay, anywhere works. I agree, but that's not secured.
EC2 instance.
EC2
Subnet range.
instance.
Subnet range.
Okay, we can give entire VPC subnet range. That is a good answer. Okay, but what happened in the same VPC? If any other server try to communicate, that server also can hit the database. That is also a followed mechanism only. So simply what we can do, we can give 172.16.0.0 class 17. I can give this IP address. Now communication will happen, but only that EC2 instance, No, within this VPC, any instance can communicate. But my communication should be between my database server and jump server. That's it. Then jump server IP address. Okay, I'm giving jump server IP address, but after some time I have stopped and started that jump server. That IP address changed. Do I need to come back here and do I need to edit again? Then can we give our EC2 instance security group here? The pipeline mechanism. If you give SG, you see here Windows SG is there, right? I can simply give this, right? I mean, I need to open again and I need to give that. Okay, I'm going to give security group of my Windows SG. Is this valid setting? Whatever the instance have that security group, only those instances can communicate. So I'm going to use this for only my jump server. If I click on save, see, this is valid setting. If you don't understand this mechanism, you mention one thing. Okay, we open 3306 to entire VPC CIDR block 172.16.0.0 plus 17 is our CIDR block. Plus 17 is our CIDR block. This is also valid setting. And also go to MySQL, give your jump server, IP address here. That is also valid. Otherwise, anywhere, this is also valid. But among all these options, this is more standard way. I told you, whenever we are creating a database, AWS is asking, do you want to connect from any specific EC2 instance? If you select yes, and if you select that EC2 instance, this automatically adds. Instead of manually adding, AWS will do this mechanism for us if you select yes. Okay, you need to know. That's the reason I have not created instance first. Right. So among these two, anything is fine. In your interview, I strongly recommend you to talk about this pipeline mechanism. If you didn't get that, or if you felt that as a complex and all, you mention, okay, we open for entire VPC CIDR range. So that means only that within that VPC resource only can communicate. That is also valid answer. Okay. But interviewer will impress with this option. Then click on save rules. Now, you have not made any changes. All right. So now let's go here, give a double click, and we got connected. You see that security group modification is taken effect. We got connected to this database. So this MySQL Workbench is just a software to get connected to our database we launched here. We are connecting to this database with the help of MySQL Workbench tool. Okay. So this is the launching your first database and connecting to it from an EC2 instance. Okay. So now I'm open to all your questions. So if you have any questions, we can discuss now. The task is pretty straightforward. Whatever I did, you do that. Okay. Create a DB subnet. Launch a database in custom VPC private subnet. Then launch an EC2 instance in custom VPC's public subnet. First connect to your EC2 instance. So install the required application. So then get connected to your database from that instance. Okay. Yeah. Any questions on this? Database comes under free tier eligibility? Yes. It comes under free tier eligibility. You are going to get 750 hours per month under free tier limitation. And make sure you're with db.t3 micro or db.t4g micro. Or simply you select this option. Don't worry about remaining options. Whenever you're creating a database, select that free tier eligible option. Then all things are comes under free tier. But storage, don't select more than 20 GB. Go with only 20 GB storage. Okay? Right? Yeah. MS SQL don't come under FIDE eligibility. That is another reason I have not selected MS SQL. Okay, so there is an Express edition, I think. Select MS SQL. And there is no free tier option. You see? So better to practice with MySQL. So Express edition, this is free generally. But the configuration you are selecting here, T3 small, there is no micro actually. That's the reason. So it is showing the cost also. That is monthly cost. And whenever you are trying to delete this, okay, so whenever you go to actions, whenever you try to delete, it will ask you create final snapshot. So the snapshot is a backup copy, day after tomorrow session topic. So we really don't require any backups. So uncheck this, select the second option, I acknowledge. And here you need to type delete me. Okay, you need to type delete me. When you click on delete, so then it will delete. Okay. If no questions, I'll delete. And also, for example, if you don't understand that pipeline mechanism, but you still want to implement, you can do one thing. Select the database, go to actions, set up EC2 connection. Click on that setup EC2 connection, select your EC2 instance. Then click on continue. So you see here, whatever the mechanism I have explained, same thing diagrammatically. What is happening? This is an EC2 instance. It's security group. So it is opening with 3306. Okay, the 3306 is giving this EC2 instance security group. You see here? Click on confirm and setup. It is creating a security group. That security group is adding. And the pipeline mechanism is implementing automatically. Okay. EC2 RDS1. You scroll down, go to inbound rules. Okay, this is the one. Okay, this is the one. RDS EC2, EC2 RDS1, both created. So both pipeline mechanism without any traffic. It's a kind of loop back mechanism is added. I will review that. Okay. So yeah, you can go to action, set up EC2 connection. That also will do automatically. Right. So select it, go to actions. Can I delete? Any questions? No response. Okay, I'm deleting it. Unchecking that, create final snapshot, typing delete me, then click on delete. My instance, DB instance is deleted. This is EC2 instance. Okay. I need it tomorrow. So I'll stop it. Okay. I'll start it again and I'll use that tomorrow. Instead of launching a new one, installing the software and wasting some time. So you know the mechanism, right? All right, it is deleting. We're good. So any questions? If no, I have two questions. Yes, Ravi.
So in the real-time environment, like when you're working with a database, as you said, you were running some 5.7 version.
Yes.
So, if something goes wrong and, if you have to install, if you're forced to install the patches and you need to go on. Like, did you get any such kind of scenarios, and how did you handle that?
So basically, if you are getting auto miner version upgrades, a database have a direct option that we will discuss tomorrow. There is an option I'm going to talk about that. If you just enable that, okay, so then you need to choose a window at what time that minor version upgrades need to happen. If it is a major, obviously we need to involve and we need to do that manually. But if it is a minor version, we can simply enable an option, and at what time that need to happen, we can select a time window. During that window, it happens automatically.
Okay.
Okay, I have two questions. Okay, so what is the answer for this question? Just think. So difficult. Just try to understand the question, try to understand the mechanism.
B option.
Think. So it's not one or third one. It's not the first one and not the third one.
B.
It's not related to network ACL. So B or D?
B.
So is it okay if you make your MySQL open for everyone?
Yes, sir.
D. What is the D? Open MySQL port on security group for web servers and set the source to everyone. Is it okay? All right. Open HTTPS port on database. What we can do with HTTPS on database? Database runs on what is HTTPS port number? 443. Is it okay? Is it really required to open 443 on database? Okay. So then how D?
B.
So open HTTPS port on security group for web servers. HTTPS is secured. You can make HTTPS open for everyone. There is no issue. Okay. So you can make HTTPS open for everyone. Right. So I can even show you. I recently seen HTTP versus HTTPS funny. You see this? HTTP. So easy to stall. But you see here, HTTPS, she tied that bag. So is it easy to, get that? No, right? So not only that, I've seen another. I think it's a little video. No, no. I'll show you that. I have it. Free antivirus and paid antivirus. No. Yeah. And not that is the one. Okay, I'll show you that. Don't worry. I have it in mobile. So it's okay to make HTTPS open for everyone. Even you see here, the web server must be accessible only to the customers on SSL connection. So whenever HTTPS is open, when we will get HTTPS? Whenever we apply SSL or TLS certificate, then only we will get HTTPS. So it's absolutely fine to open HTTPS for everyone, and is not mentioning any specific customers, is mentioning customers. So everyone. And the RTS database server must be accessible only from the web server. Database should not be accessible by everyone. Only web server need to get access to database. So open MySQL port on database security group, attach it to MySQL instance, set the source to web server security group. This is what the thing we have configured sometime back. Sometime back, I tried to configure the pipeline mechanism, right? That is a mechanism. Okay. So the answer is B. So I have one more question. I will show that question tomorrow. It's already 10:30. Okay. So the answer is B. Okay. So I'm going to upload the database also. RTS. So if you don't practice today, you feel difficult tomorrow. So spend some time, please practice today itself. Okay. Launch and get connected to it at least. Even you are making it public and you're connecting from your local laptop also, doesn't matter to me. So please get connected to it. All right. So see you again tomorrow. Thank you guys.